Hey Goal Digger, welcome back to another episode of Get Lit, where we crush your business in less than 10 minutes. For today's episode, I am so excited because we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is Instagram stories. If you didn't know, Instagram stories is the hottest place to find leads because when people are viewing your stories, they are choosing to interact with your content. They're clicking that circle at the top of their feed and they're spending intimate time with you and your stories and getting to know you better. So in this episode, I'm going to teach you my secret hack to getting hundreds of views on your Instagram stories. Stay tuned. All right, now let's get into my secret hack for generating hundreds of views on your story. So I get anywhere between 200 and sometimes 400 views per story. I've had students get more than that sometimes. So this totally works, and I'm excited for you to feel confident when it comes to your stories. So my biggest piece of advice with stories is take the time to get to know them, and learn them. Watching this training is a good start because I think sometimes people go, oh, I don't get it. It's confusing. I don't understand how to use the apps and design eye-catching stuff. First thing is to learn it. But the second thing is to start to learn how to build a story sequence. So a story sequence is where you take a piece of content and you break it into multiple stories. Because too many times people will post, hashtag blessed and crushing it. Like they're just incongruent. The stories are all discombobulated. There's no rhyme or reason or flow to it. So if you can build out a story sequence, what will happen is people will want to stay viewing your stories because they want to see the next piece of the story. Think of those little, I always use the example of those little board books for little ones, Humpty Dumpty, we used to have those tiny ones and they'd be maybe 5 pages. So it's a very short story, but you're of course going to keep reading it and hear what happens to Humpty Dumpty, right? Well, we want the same thing for you. We want people to stick with you and stay in there so that way they can get to know you better. And the really cool thing, like I mentioned at the beginning, is the more time they spend in your stories, a couple things happen. One, it's great for your algorithm. So it tells Instagram and Facebook as well, it tells them, oh, wow, this person is enjoying this content because its little bots can tell if you go from story to story. It can also tell if you sit on the story and actually, if it's a 15-second clip, it can tell if you're hitting tap, tap, tap to go to the next story or are you actually sitting there watching it. And it's really great for the algorithm. It's more likely to put you in the top of the Instagram stories. So you've got your feed, and at the very top of the app is those little circles. You're more likely to show up for your followers if the people who do view your stories are spending the time digesting your content. The other thing is you're training your audience of how to consume your content. So the more time they spend with you, the more likely they are to come back, the more likely they are to go, oh, wow, Kimberly released something new. I'm so excited. I want to see what it was. New video, new post, or a new story, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and I am going to show you, screen share, okay. I think I'm on the right one, hopefully. I'm going to show you a story sequence. So this is one for a customer testimonial. So the first one says, you know what I love? Getting messages like this, okay? So there's a call to action to go to the very next story. Then it says, and this is key, what I did with this one, you can't hear it on here, but what I did is I actually did a screen recording playing my customer's testimonial that was in Messenger, and it says, listen to this, and I broke it up into several clips. So if they want to hear everything that she said, they're going to play it, right? They're going to listen, they're going to want to hear what she said. So this was the second clip, struggling to lose that baby weight. Here's a screenshot. Talk about social proof that they can see this was an actual conversation I had, and I got her permission. You always want to get people's permission and make sure it's compliant with your company because some companies won't let you share testimonials. So here's her still talking. Again, I've got the sound showing, and I used, I think, Storychick for this one. So it says, or she's continuing to talk, and it says 16 pounds off, congrats. So now we're 3 stories in, okay? And here's the 4th story. Mom naps are gone. And this is the end of her story sequence, okay? So I've got 4 stories there. So I was able to get 4 stories, which it came to a total of, I think, about 50 seconds around there. So if the person watches all for stories, that's almost a minute of them sitting there in my stories. They're way more likely to keep clicking through and be able to start to see the other stories that I have. Okay, so instead of just posting a random quote or saying, sweaty selfie, what you can do, I just did this today, or was it this morning or yesterday? I can't remember. It was yesterday. When I've been running, it's been, my body's just not happy right now with the running. So I have a Peloton. So I took a picture of, what did I do? I had a picture of me before. I took a picture of the Peloton. I have the app. I do a screen share. So I took a picture, a little boomerang of the Peloton instructor. And then I also afterwards did like a little happy dance. And I said, where are my Peloton people at? And I made a story sequence out of it. And I got messages on it. I've also done polls before with product. So I'm in health and wellness. So I have fitness products, I have weight loss products. So I can tie that into that story sequence and promote my products that way. So instead of just those, static before and after pictures that people always put when people lose weight or get clearing up their skin, build a story around it. I've done story sequences that share about how, when my mom used to come visit, I would put my kids in preschool or daycare all day because I was working, or I couldn't take any time off because I was on commission, and that wasn't good for them. It wasn't good for her. But now that I've built a business on social media and I make money while I'm not working, I'm able to still have the money come in, spend that time with my mom and create those memories with her grandkids. So I built a story sequence around that the last time she visited. So instead of just saying, we had the best month ever, 46 rank advancement, so amazing, instead of bragging all the time like everybody else does, you want to be different. Being a marketer is about being different. You want to think outside the box. You want to challenge yourself to say, okay, what apps should I use? And actually, like I told you, I'm pointing at the Instagram here. Like I showed you in the tutorial, the examples I shared were in, I use Storychick. So what I'm going to do, if you click here, it's going to link to a training I did on how to use the app. So you are going to love it. It's going to show you exactly how I created those stories. And so you can add some dimension, you can add some animation, you can, have those frames around them. So instead of you just doing video or just posting a selfie, you can bring it to life. You want it to be eye-catching and really want to stop the scroll. That's really the goal of what you're trying to do, okay? So watch that video. And I hope this was helpful to you. I look forward to seeing you posting more strong stories so that way we can get more traction on them, to get more people coming back, and to ultimately get those people spending more time. And also remember, create engaging content. Use calls to action, use the poll feature, use the quiz feature, ask a question. And I do it all the time. I'm like, hey, just send me a DM, and that way people go right into my inbox and we can chat it up in there, okay? All right, subscribe if you love this video. I hope you do, and hit the bell to get notified when I release another training, because I release several per week. And share this with a friend. Throw it in your stories, tag me on it, take a screenshot of you watching this, tag me at the Gold Digger Girl on Instagram, and I will shout you out on my page as well. Until next time, get lit in your business and set your soul on fire. Bye-bye.